Tonight we're going to be using two types of paper from the SALE-a-bration catalog, and those papers are Penguin Playmates and Peaceful Prints Designer Series Paper. And we'll be making a buckle fold card. Hi, I'm Joan and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I created this video for Joan's Simple Paper Crafts found right here on YouTube. If you're new here, I want to thank you for stopping by. If you're a returning guest, welcome back. Be sure to subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below. That way you won't miss when I post a video, which is typically once a week. Now give me a second so I can turn the camera down and we can get started. And here's the buckle fold cards we're going to make today. We used papers from the SALE-a-bration catalog, and you only have 2 days left in order to get your items out of the SALE-a-bration catalog. And how that works is when you place a $50 order from the annual catalog or the mini catalog, you can pick an item out of the SALE-a-bration catalog. And what we have is we're going to be using our Penguin Playmates for this card here, and then we will also be using the Peaceful Prints for this card here. And I'm going to show you those papers now. Here's our Penguin Playmates. Comes in 12 different prints. Got 6 prints on one side and then 6 on the other side, and you can almost use these for any occasion here. So if we turn this over, we'll look at the other prints. We have our animals. We've got 3 of them in a smaller setting, and then we've got the larger setting for 3 of them. Now these I would definitely say are seasonal. And let me show you the Peaceful Prints. And we've got 12 prints of this as well. 6 on one side. Let me see. Here's 6 of one side. And I would say these are seasonal here. Maybe this one I could use elsewhere. And then this back side you could use anywhere. So I think that was a very good design of these papers. So let's get started. You'll find the dimensions, cutting dimensions, down in the comments section below. I will post those shortly after the video's done. And so we're going to start with our cardstock. This is 8.5 by 4.5, and we score it at 5.5. And I'm going to move this out of the way so we don't mess that up. And then first we'll put on is our designer series paper in the inside, but it has to have this buckle on there. So we have another piece cut at 2 inches by 4.5, and I'm going to fold it on score line there at 1 inch. And then we want to put that on in the middle, and I'm just going to use this grid paper to find the middle section. This is 4 inches, so it should be very easy to find that. And I need to put the glue on here first before we do that. And I am going to use my Seal Plus because that'll give it a nice hold. And let me use my silicone mat as well. And I'm just going to put 2 stripes on here. And I want it fold to the back. So, and this is going to be the front of the paper. So we need to fold this down to the back. Put it down here. And held that in place. And then I put this on this way. That way I could guarantee that I had it on in the center. And then we just fold this over. And I'm going to give it another scoring just to make sure that it's down really good. And then we want to glue that down into here. And I'm going to use our liquid glue. And we have the Tombow multi-purpose glue. And that's in our catalog. I just have it in this small bottle with this needle nose tip to make it easier for me to get into small crevices or small, when I'm doing like lettering, small places. So, and I'm just keep the habit of using the bottle rather than switching back and forth between the two bottles. So I'm going to leave 1/8 of an inch border around, sorry about that. I'm going to leave 1/8 of an inch border around the edge of my card here. So I need to make sure that I do that here. And that looks pretty good. So I'm just going to set it down. And I'll use my bone folder to get out all the excess glue and flatten all the glue underneath. Make sure we got good contact. Little glue squeezed out there. Then next we want is our basic white, and that is 2 1/4 by 4 inch. And we're going to change what we use for the sentiment. So previously we used, I didn't show you this, be cool, be chill, be merry on the inside. And then we use Season's Greeting on the outside. And I am going to change the outside sentiment as well as the inside. So the outside I am going to use, was it be cool, be chilled? And I am going to use that on the first line, and then I'll have be merry underneath. I thought it looked a little bit awkward having it stacked 3 tall, so I am going to try and do 2 and see if that works any better. And there's 2 ways we can do this. We obviously can't put ink on the entire piece because then it will just stamp off the edge. So we could cut it, and then I could always just piece those back together. But I don't really like cutting them, so I am going to use the second method, is using Scotch tape. And I'm going to take it to that little dot that was there. I don't want that to show up. So I'm going to cover the dot, and so it's just going to say be cool, dot, be merry, and then it'll be merry underneath. And we'll take the dot off underneath as well. Just need to make sure I've got that covered properly. And we will use the fresh freesia for the color. Oh, actually we used basic black on the outside, so I am going to bring out our tuxedo black, and we will use that. And I'm going to get this out of the way so that we can just use the cushion of this red mat here. And then I just need to remember to take the tape off. So I'm just going to slide this up a little bit. So what I do is I take this tape off here, and I set it way over here because we want to use it again. So I can't put my elbow in it. And then we want to line this up on the middle of the cardstock. And that worked really well. So next we want to do is clean it, because we don't want to have the excess ink from the previous stamp coming on our next stamp. So I'm using our matte Stampin' Scrub. And then we come back with our tape, and now we need to cover up everything else, and I need to make sure it's dry, otherwise the tape is not even gonna stick. Sometimes there's a little bit of moisture there, and I didn't want it to not stick. So now we just need it to say "Be Merry," and I'm taking it up to that dot again. I am going to use it this way. Okay, so let's see if we can get that to work. And again, we need to remember to take this off. And I'm going to toss that right now. And now we need to center that underneath the "Be Cool, Be Chilled." And I think that works right about there. And I think that looks great. So I'm just going to cover that for right now. We'll have to probably use some more later. And I'm going to clean this right away. Okay. And it looks dry, so I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. Bring our mat back in. And I like to use a liquid glue because it allows you some wiggle room, and particularly when you're doing multiple sheets, you kind of want to make sure that they line up. So that way I can wiggle this back and forth to make sure that this is one continuous line here, and it seems to be. So then I am just going to, actually it's slanted, so let me see if I can pull it up on this here. There we go. And I got the "Be Cool, Be Chill, Be Merry" right out of the Penguin Place stamp set. So that's right here. And this was the season's greeting that I used on the first card. So next we want to put is our play scene on the front of the card. So we'll just put some glue on the back of that. And I'm just sticking with the liquid glue. Since I have it out, it's easier to use. And this is going to be 1/8 of an inch around the border on this as well. And I'll just use my boning tool to flatten all the glue. And next we want to do is make our buckle. So we'll want to cover this with the stamp that we're going to be using. And I can see right now that our buckle is going to be, belt buckle itself is too long. So we'll trim that off before we're all done, but let's hold on a second. So here I did the oval, and I got the oval out of the stitch shape dies, but that's discontinued. So I'm just going to put that away, and we're going to use the rectangle stitch die, because that you can get still. And there's other things you could probably use. I think there's like the whimsy dies in there, and that should work. And I've already cut the rectangle out, so I don't need to do that. But we need to do our penguin, and I don't want to stamp it, so I'm going to use the punch that's available. So we're going to take some basic black, and we're going to slip it in here. And I think I have, let me see if I can get you the measurements on this. This is actually scrap paper, so I wasn't sure how wide it was. Looks like it's 1.5 inch wide, and I have like 5 inches here, but you'll only need enough to be able to hang on to it. So I'm putting it in here, and I'm seeing that the entire cardstock is within the hole. And I'm squeezing down, holding the paper now, and then I'm just going to continue squeezing down. And actually I'm going to see if I can not, yeah, there we go. I'm doing an angle now so that I don't have to cut the little section out there. Then I'll be able to do the next one right afterwards. So the only little waste was at the bottom and then right here. So that's great. So we've got our penguin. And then the next thing we want to do is give him some part of the body. And I've got a piece of basic white, and that is 1 inch, again about 5 inches. And I am going to put him in here. I'm going to tilt it a little bit to make sure that we're not getting the foot on there. And then I can see that all the paper's there, and I'm going to continue with the punch. And then that gets glued down there, and now we need his feet. So we're going to have to punch 2 of these, and this is some pumpkin pie. I would have liked to use CALYPSO Coral, but I couldn't find any. Oh, let me just check one other place. We'll use CALYPSO Coral right here. And we'll just do 2 punches right at the bottom here. 1, 2. Gotta get the other one out. There we go. So let's assemble him. So we'll put on his body, and we'll just give it a little glue here. And I'm not sure if I'm up high enough, so let me move that up there. So I just put some glue on there, and I am just going to put it down here. And this is our stamp set that we're going to be using to finish with the body. often if you turn the object upside down, you tend to get things centered properly because you're not actually looking at what the object is. You can actually see visually the center and the sides a lot easier. That's something I learned way back in college and in my art classes. So now we need to get the eyes on there, and we'll use our black ink for that. Hopefully I won't get my elbows in there, and I'm trying not to get my head in the location of the camera. And I think that's it for the black, so I'm gonna tuck that away for now. Then next we'll want is our real red for his nose, because we want to make him Rudolph again. And what we have next is this bow tie, and I'm not sure if I'm going to have to stamp on some other paper and fussy cut them, or if he'll work directly on here. Let's see. No, we can stamp them right onto here. I need to get the real red back out. And next we have is our reindeer ears. Antlers, not ears. We'll put the antlers right above his head. We're going to put the antlers down first, and then we will make sure that the body comes up far enough. Yeah, so let's do that. Perfect. Then we're going to glue him down. And I am using glue rather than using dimensionals, because we'll have dimensionals on the white paper. I don't want this to be real bulky. I don't want it to have problems when it goes through the post office. And don't want to have to actually make it non-machinable. So then we'll put dimensionals on the left side, and we're going to put it on the up here and down here, because we want to be able to get the buckle in. And to do the buckle, we're going to have to use our classic label punch. That is retired, so you'll need to cut a piece out of this cardstock here. I believe it was 2 1/4 inches long. No, I'm sorry, 2 1/8 inches long by 3/8 inches wide, if you want to have that same type of buckle. You'll have to do it on your own. But those of you that have this punch, you want to come off about a ½ inch in and center it top to bottom, right to left, and a ½ inch from the bottom. And I meant top to bottom that way, sorry, right to left. And then just make sure that this will fit in there. And what I found is that if we chop off the ends, it works a lot easier. But we did discover that we needed to trim it down too. So let's do that. We're going to cut 1/4 of an inch off at least. Let's do 3/8 of an inch. And luckily this paper here, it has measurements on both sides of the paper. So that's 1 inch, ½ inch. We said 3/8 of an inch. There we go. And then I am going to mark about a ½ inch. Take a little ticky mark for ½ inch on both sides. I keep losing my rulers. So we want to just take a ticky mark, about a ½ inch. Right here. And we'll do it this way too. And that's just, we're going to just trim those corners off. And I just didn't want to eyeball it. I wanted to make sure that they were going to be even on both sides. So that's why I did the measurements. And then we'll just take our eraser here and just get rid of those ticky marks. And now it will fit in there rather easily. Looks like I should have done just a 1/4 of an inch off because it doesn't want to stay right. So next we want to do is put our, let's stamp this Christmas greeting on here first before we attach this. And we're going to use Merry Christmas from the For Unto Us right here. And we will use our black ink for that as well. And I got a few too many pieces here. Okay, move that out of the way. And I'd like to open this up. And I'm going to center it on this side, top to bottom. Could have moved it a little bit to the right yet, a little bit more, because that is where it's going to be sitting. Okay. Covering up my ink so I don't get that all over. And let's find our dimensionals. We'll use the large ones, and we'll put those on the top and bottom. On the left side. And I am going to use my Take Your Pick tool. Let's get that out of the way. I think I can go over one more. Let's use the mini right next to that. And we'll take these off. And we'll try and center that top to bottom. And I think that's good right there. And then put the buckle in. And I just have a little tick mark there I want to erase yet, because that's where I'm using for my center mark. All right, we've got one done. I almost forgot we need to put some glitter on there. I'm going to use some snowflakes. These are also retired, but you may have some in your stash. Other things that might work might be the red. That would bring out, that's Wonderful Gems in the mini catalog. The red would work there. There's red on here with the rhinestone, holiday rhinestones from the annual catalog. I kind of like the opal rounds because they look like snowballs. So that would probably work for that. Not so much. Not so much. Not so much. These would work. The black ones would work. Those are all that I have, but there's others in the catalog you probably could find that would work as well. But I am going to go with the snowflakes, and I'm going to use these white ones. I think I'm just going to put 5 on because it works great to put an odd number. And 3 just doesn't seem like enough. And so these had like a white color, kind of glossy sheen to them. And then they had this like a holographic color to it. Now we're done with that one. Let's show this one with it. Okay, and now we're going to move on to our next card. And this one, we were basically using paper for everything. And I need to get my paper out here. And we aren't going to use this for the buckle closure because the square will hold it in place. So let's get our mat and our paper. So first of all, we'll just cut another reindeer. I do not own the reindeer punch, but I did have a punch of a reindeer, so I'm using that. but you could easily buy the punch, and that would take you partway to the $50 so that you can get the paper as well. And that is just from the, I can't remember the name of it. That is from the Peaceful Prints. So we'll do the same thing. We'll work on the back inside of the card first. Let's score this. It's already scored. Let's fold and burnish it. I'm going to burnish it on both sides so that it gets a nice crisp edge there. It's difficult with this foam mat. Okay, then we want to bring in this, and we'll bring in our brown paper. That's the 2-inch strip, so we want to burnish this fold. In this one, I didn't have enough paper, so I just have it as it was 4 1/4 inches long by 2 inches, and then I just took the 1/4 inch that we're missing off this edge. So this is just, we burnished it at 3/4 inch on the end. And again, we'll use our paper to help align this. Just 2 strips of Seal Plus. And I got a little bit generous there. Let's see if I can get that to roll back. Maybe this will work. I'm going to catch on the paper and the fold. I don't want that to happen. And then this just tore, so I'm going to glue that back down. All right, so now we've got it at that is centered when there's 4 inches. So I'm just going to put this down here. And then let's burnish that again. Seems to be working. To take some powder and just dust that a little bit because there's some glue there. I don't want it to, and this is that ecstatic we use when we're embossing. We don't carry it anymore, but you can get this at craft stores. And that powder will dissipate over time, so I'm not worried about that. So let's put some glue on the back of this paper. And we're going to leave 1/4 or 1/8 of an inch border around the 3 sides. If I can get it to line up right. And then we want to put down our sentiment here. And it looks like I'm going to need to trim this just a sliver because it's a little bit long. And just a hair. And I'm using the guillotine because I can't quite get the hair as good on the paper trimmer from Stampin' Up. So now, yeah, that's much better. Okay, so we need to stamp Merry Christmas on this. Oh, it looks a little bit excessive, so let me see if I can stamp some off. And we'll just center it. And we'll finish stamping this off here. That's dry, so we can go ahead and glue that down. And we want to leave 1/8 of an inch between the 2 pieces of paper and around the rest of the sides of the paper. So the top, bottom, and the left side. And we want it to be level there. It was crooked. And I'm just going to use my bone folder again just to get all the glue out from behind. Okay, so that's good there. And then we want to glue this onto the front. And we've got that. So that's cut properly. I don't know where's this one from. Okay, let's make sure we got the right measurement. Yeah, we'll use this one. And we want to leave 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. And I'm just going to wiggle it a little bit to get it level. And we'll squeeze all the bubbles out. Then we need to measure this one down. Should have put this on beforehand. Yeah, let's look at this. So I've got this already. So we've already got this measured here. We're going to cut the angle on this plaid paper, and then we will glue it down, and then we'll match the angle from the other paper. And then I'm also going to just erase these tick marks here. Oh, if I can find my eraser. And we're going to glue it this way, not this way. That looks good. And then I can just trim this off here, leaving about 1/8 of an inch border. Same here. That works a lot better than doing the brown first and then trying to figure out how to get the plaid to line up right, because I did it brown first on the other card. So we need to do our buckle clasps here, and we're just going to glue this down. And this will leave 1/8 of an inch border around the edges. All right. Same thing with the deer. We need to glue him down too. I'm just going to, this is where the fine tip comes into play. There is a fine tip on this bottle here, but it's not as good as the needle nose. The needle nose really allows you to get a fine line. And then we're just going to, we want to have it done this way, going to put them on here. And then we will put the glue on here, here, and here. I don't remember. Yeah, we can use a full dimension on this side, and then we use a 1/2 dimension on here. I needed to change my tip so that I can have the right tip on there. And then we're going to cut this one in half. And I should have left it on the paper. Oh, Okay, so we need to do that. And then we'll just take those off with our Take Your Pick tool. And then we align this, going down that line there, and the buckle on the end. And the buckle just goes inside. There's no slot for it to slide into. And it says Merry Christmas. And we don't have any gems for this one. So let's bring in our other cards. I hope you liked these projects as much as I did. As you can see, you can switch out the sentiments a little bit. Why don't you give it a try? Now, if you enjoyed today's video, would you do me 2 favors? Click the thumbs up emoji. That means you like it. And would you share it on social media with your crafting friends and pin it to Pinterest? These actions will help me to keep sharing my ideas with other crafters for free, and I'd really appreciate that. Be sure to hit the subscribe button below so you won't miss any future videos. If you have any questions, be sure to contact me. I'm here to help in any way that I can. If you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. Just reach out to me. If you'd like to place a Stampin' Up! Order or like a catalog, hop over to my website where you'll find the Shop Now button. To shop with me, you'll need to go to joanheberlein.stampinup.net. Bear with me a little bit longer because I want to let you know the promotions going on right now. The July-December mini catalog is here. Sales run from August 3rd through January 3rd. It's your passport to stunning seasonal projects. It contains all the products you'll need to craft, create, and celebrate during Halloween, Christmas, and more. Are you ready to celebrate? SALE-a-bration is one of our biggest promotions of the year. Are you ready to celebrate? During the celebration, you can earn exclusive products for free. For every $50 you spend, you can add your pick of a celebration product to the cart at no additional cost. Sale runs August 3rd through September 30th. Mark your calendars. I'll be back Friday, October 1st at 7 p.m. Central Time, and we'll be doing something fall-like. Thanks so much for being here with me tonight. I look forward to next time. Bye for now, and don't forget to subscribe.